Beloved chosen one. Pause for a moment. Heaven has just interrupted your ordinary scroll to deliver an extraordinary decree. This is not a coincidence. This is divine timing. You were meant to see this, to feel this, to receive this. The very fact that your eyes are reading these words means heaven has scheduled an upgrade for your life. Every delay you have faced, every closed door, every painful goodbye, it was not rejection. It was redirection. God has been positioning you in silence because the next chapter of your life requires strength that only pressure could produce. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every battle, every tear, every sleepless night was building your spiritual muscle for this very moment. You've wondered, why me? But heaven replies, because I chose you. You have carried burdens others could not, yet still, you rise. That resilience in you is not natural. It's divine. It is the evidence that heaven has invested purpose in your soul. And now, the season of testing gives way to the season of upgrading. This divine interruption is not random. It's the signal that your destiny is shifting gears. The Lord has seen your private prayers, your hidden sacrifices, your moments of silent surrender, and now, the time for recognition has come. The same God who saw you in the valley is now about to showcase you on the mountain. Listen carefully. You are standing on holy ground, right where heaven's voice meets your obedience. You are not too late, not too far gone, not too broken. You are right on time for what God is doing. Everything that seemed to be falling apart was secretly falling into place. Heaven was never ignoring you. Heaven was arranging you. You've been asking for clarity, for signs, for confirmation, and this is it. The wind is shifting. The anointing that once rested on your potential is now resting on your manifestation. What was preparation becomes performance. What was hidden becomes highlighted. The upgrade is not coming, it's here. Beloved, your spirit has outgrown your old environment. That's why certain things no longer satisfy you, why certain people no longer understand you. The upgrade requires isolation before elevation. When God is about to multiply you, He first separates you. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. And now, heaven whispers over you, you have been faithful over little. I will make you ruler over much. The seeds you sowed in tears will now be reaped in joy. You are stepping into divine acceleration, where things that used to take years will unfold suddenly. The world may call it luck, but heaven calls it alignment. This moment is divine synchronization between your readiness and God's appointed time. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is breathing new life into your dreams, your strength, your vision. As the prophet declared long ago, it is written in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That is your heavenly guarantee. The upgrade is not a possibility, it's a promise. Every moment of pain was a down payment for your promotion. Every storm refined you. Every loss redirected you, and every delay disguised a blessing. Now, heaven is releasing restoration in places you thought were permanently broken. The hand of God is turning what once brought shame into a testimony of grace. You will stand where you once fell, shine where you once wept, and rise where you once feared. The very ground that held your tears will soon yield a harvest of glory. Your ashes are becoming beauty. Everything stolen is being returned sevenfold. The enemy's plans are collapsing under the weight of divine reversal. The same people who doubted you will witness your elevation and know it was God. Every no you received was heaven reserving a greater yes. Your story is shifting by divine decree. Prepare your heart. For unexpected doors will open swiftly, Conversations, opportunities, and alignments will appear as if from nowhere. But they will not be random, they will be reward. Heaven honors the endurance of the faithful. The chapter that begins now will carry your name into new realms of influence and victory. You will look back soon and realize nothing was wasted. The detours were directions. The waiting was working. The crushing was creating the oil that now flows from your spirit. The anointing on your life has been tested by fire, and now it will speak with authority. Chosen one, this is your moment to receive it, not in fear, not in hesitation, but in faith. Lift your heart, lift your expectation. God is upgrading your life, and all of heaven is applauding your obedience. If this word resonates in your spirit, seal it with faith, like, share, and comment below as a declaration that you receive this upgrade. Type 777 in the comments as a prophetic act of divine completion. And if you haven't already, subscribe to stay connected to every message heaven releases for your journey. Your upgrade begins now. Receive it, walk in it, and watch what God does next. Chosen one. As you step from divine interruption into divine revelation, heaven begins to unfold its hidden blueprint for your life. What you once called delay was never denial, it was design. The map of your destiny has always been written in the unseen, and now, the veil begins to lift. You are about to understand why certain things had to happen the way they did. Every unanswered prayer, every postponed dream, every painful waiting season was not a setback, it was synchronization. God was aligning the moving parts of your destiny, fitting people, places, and moments together like sacred puzzle pieces. You thought he was silent, but he was strategizing. The divine architect never stops working, even when the construction seems invisible. There were times you asked, why is nothing happening? Yet in truth, everything was happening just beneath the surface. The soil of your soul was being tilled, your faith was being stretched, your discernment sharpened, your heart purified. What you called stagnation was sanctification. You were being prepared to carry the weight of what's coming next. Listen closely. Chosen one, divine blueprints are not revealed in noise, but in stillness. God hid you to heal you. He delayed you to develop you. He covered you to crown you. Heaven knew that premature exposure could destroy the purity of your purpose. So instead of public recognition, you were given private refinement. You felt forgotten, but you were actually being favored in secret. The world could not see your preparation, but heaven was documenting every step. There is no wasted waiting in the kingdom. Every season serves a purpose, even when it feels like silence. What you endured in the shadows is now becoming the foundation of your elevation. Do you not see how strategic your journey has been? The pain that humbled you was the same pain that preserved you. The closed doors kept you from counterfeit opportunities. The betrayals purified your motives. Even your loneliness was a lesson in intimacy with God. Everything was purposeful. Everything was placement. And now, the divine blueprint is being revealed. God is showing you the connections between the seemingly random chapters of your story. The same hand that wrote your beginning is writing your breakthrough. What once looked like chaos is revealing divine order. You are standing at the edge of manifestation, watching heaven unfold its plan line by line. The Spirit whispers, "Do not fear the unknown, for I have already been there." The future that intimidates you is already completed in His design. All you must do is walk in alignment. The blueprint is not meant to be fully understood, it is meant to be trusted. You are not the architect, you are the vessel. There will be moments when the path seems uncertain again, when the blueprint feels blurry. But in those moments, remember, obedience is your map. Each step of faith illuminates the next. You were never meant to understand everything at once. You were meant to move when heaven moves. You are entering a season of divine insight. God will begin to connect you with people whose purpose complements yours. Assignments will make sense. Delays will reveal their meaning. Every no from heaven will be seen as protection, not punishment. And as you walk in obedience, the pace of your progress will quicken. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. The divine architect is meticulous. He does not rush masterpieces, and you, chosen one, are a masterpiece in motion. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. That is the essence of heaven's blueprint, divine coordination. Even your detours are destined. Even your heartbreaks are holy. Nothing is wasted when your life is surrendered to the Creator's hands. You will soon look back and see how every season served its purpose. You will see how the desert prepared you for the promised land, how the wilderness trained you to recognize his voice, and how every lonely night became the womb of revelation. God was not delaying you, he was defining you. Chosen one. The blueprint for your next chapter is one of expansion. The boundaries that once confined you are breaking. The same grace that sustained you in hiddenness will now empower you in visibility. The blueprint of heaven does not only build blessings, it builds character strong enough to hold them. So be still and know that the divine design is unfolding perfectly. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to chase what is already written for you. Simply stay aligned, stay faithful, stay ready. For what is being built in heaven will soon be seen on earth, and it carries your name upon it. Chosen one, you have walked through seasons where everything seemed to break at once. You tried to hold it together, but pieces kept falling apart. You questioned why God allowed such crushing, such loss, such loneliness. But listen, the breaking was never to destroy you, it was to rebuild you stronger. The cracks in your story are where the light of glory enters. Every chosen one faces a breaking before the blessing. Before the crown comes the cross. Before elevation comes endurance. You cannot carry new glory in an old vessel. So heaven allowed certain things to shatter so that divine strength could fill the gaps where human strength once lived. What broke you was actually birthing you. You see, when something breaks in your hands, it feels like failure. But when something breaks in God's hands, it becomes formation. He was not taking from you, he was making you. Every time you said, "I can't do this anymore," heaven whispered, "Yes, you can, because I'm not done yet." The breaking is sacred. It refines motives, redefines priorities, and resurrects true faith. You discovered that joy is not in having everything, but in trusting God through everything. You learned that peace is not the absence of storms, but the presence of divine confidence within them. The breaking purified you until only purpose remained. Chosen one. Heaven saw the tears that others ignored. It saw the silent battles, the moments you smiled while bleeding inside. God was not blind to your pain. He was present in every ache, shaping your heart to carry the next level of glory. For what is coming next requires a depth of strength that only brokenness can produce. Every broken vessel that stays in the potter's hands becomes more valuable. You are being remade, not replaced, but restored. God is not discarding you. He is displaying his craftsmanship through your scars. What once represented pain will soon represent power. You may have thought the loss was punishment, but it was protection. Heaven was removing attachments that couldn't follow you into your new season. Some people had to leave so that peace could stay. Some doors had to close so that destiny could open. You didn't lose. You were lifted. The Spirit whispers now. Do not mourn what I have removed. Rejoice for what I am revealing. You are stepping into a realm where what once hurt you will no longer hold you. The trauma that tried to bury you will now testify through you. The breaking has built a foundation strong enough to hold miracles. Every scar on your soul carries a secret strength. You have seen darkness up close and still chosen light. You have felt fear breathe down your neck and still chosen faith. You have faced despair and still chosen to stand. That is why the blessing is near, because you did not bow to bitterness. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3. To bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. This is the divine exchange of your season. God is trading your ashes for beauty, your mourning for joy, your despair for strength. Every time you were broken, something heavenly was built inside you. The oil of your anointing was pressed from the weight of your suffering. Chosen one, the breaking was never the end, it was the doorway. Without the crushing of grapes, there can be no wine. Without the pressure of the olive, there can be no oil. You are being refined for rulership. The blessing that follows will not just elevate you, it will empower you to lift others. Now is the time to rise from the ashes of what was. Stand tall in what remains. You are not defined by what broke you. You are defined by who rebuilt you. You will not carry the smell of smoke from your fire, you will carry the fragrance of survival, strength, and sanctification. And as you read these words, something deep inside you knows it's true. You feel the stirring, the confirmation, the sacred echo. This is not the end of your story. It's the unveiling of a masterpiece. Heaven has been rebuilding you behind closed doors, and soon the world will witness the unveiling of what God has been crafting in silence. So pause for a moment, breathe, and let your heart absorb this truth. Nothing that broke you can stop what's about to bless you. The hands that held you through the pain are now releasing the promise. You survived for a reason. Now comment these words as a seal of faith: I rise again. Type it as your declaration that the breaking has birthed something unstoppable within you. Every time you say it, heaven agrees with your comeback. You are not falling apart. You are falling into purpose. Your breaking was the birthplace of your blessing, and your comeback will carry the sound of heaven's applause. Chosen one, you have reached the season where silence has spoken louder than storms. The quiet stretches of your life, the hidden years where nothing seemed to move, were not evidence of divine distance. They were proof of divine strategy. God hides his greatest works until they are ready to be revealed. The stillness you endured was not punishment, it was preparation. There is something sacred about being hidden. It is in obscurity that roots grow deep, where faith learns to rely on whispers instead of applause. When you felt forgotten, heaven was shielding you. When doors remained closed, God was guarding you from premature exposure. Every delay carried divine intelligence. You were not left behind. You were kept aside until the appointed time. In your hidden season, you prayed prayers that no one heard. You wrestled with doubts that no one saw. You felt invisible even to the people you once helped. But listen carefully, heaven was never ignoring you. The silence was God's classroom, and you were being trained in trust. There, you learned that real faith doesn't depend on constant affirmation. It depends on constant surrender. The hidden place is where prophets are forged, where kings are humbled, and where warriors are refined. David was anointed long before he was appointed. Joseph dreamed long before he ruled. Even Jesus lived in silence for 30 years before stepping into public ministry. The same divine rhythm applies to you. The hiddenness was holy. It built the weight you now carry. You wondered why things that used to open easily suddenly became inaccessible. It wasn't because you failed, it was because heaven upgraded your level. You outgrew certain environments. Old spaces could no longer contain your new capacity. The friendships that faded, the opportunities that disappeared, the plans that collapsed, all were signs that heaven was shifting your stage. This is what many never understand when heaven hides you. It's a compliment, not a curse. It means there is something in you so valuable that it must be guarded until the right moment. A diamond is formed underground. A seed grows in darkness. And the chosen ones are developed in silence. Your hidden season was a holy setup. It purified your motives and proved your endurance. You learned how to hear God's voice without external validation. You discovered strength that doesn't rely on visible support. Every unanswered prayer was refining your discernment. Every delay was fine-tuning your obedience. Heaven was not withholding, it was preparing the launch. Chosen one, you are now stepping out of the cocoon. The same God who hid you is now unveiling you. What once felt like confinement will soon be recognized as cultivation. The silence is breaking, and divine announcements are being made in the Spirit. The people who once overlooked you will soon see the evidence of divine favor upon you. But do not despise the memory of your hidden season. It is your foundation. When the light of promotion shines, remember that power without humility destroys, but power rooted in silence sustains. The stillness taught you how to listen, and listening will keep you aligned as you rise. In your hidden moments, God removed distractions that disguise themselves as blessings. He separated noise from necessity. He showed you that you are more than your platform, more than your performance, more than people's approval. Your identity is not built on visibility, it is built on intimacy. As heaven begins to unfold your next steps, walk carefully. Do not rush ahead of grace. The same voice that told you to wait will tell you when to move. You will know the difference between a divine door and a distraction by the peace that accompanies it. You are being guided, not guessed. Not, as we are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 27, verse 14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Those words echo through the chambers of your spirit today. Waiting is not weakness, it is worship. It is trusting that God's timing is perfect even when His silence is heavy. You were never abandoned. You were being arranged for destiny's unveiling. Chosen one. As you emerge from the hidden place, walk gently but confidently. You no longer need to chase recognition. Recognition will find you. The same anointing that kept you quiet will now command attention. The favor of God will speak louder than your explanation. What seemed delayed was divine timing working in your favor. The silence that once frustrated you will soon become the story that inspires others. You will tell them, "It was in the quiet that I found my calling," and those who once doubted your worth will stand in awe of the glory that surrounds you now. So rest your heart in this truth: you were never forgotten. The hidden season was a holy setup for a public unveiling. Heaven has been preparing the stage, and your cue is coming. The silence is lifting, the spotlight is shifting, and your purpose is ready to speak. Chosen one, the time has come to receive your keys to the new realm. Heaven is unlocking what was once sealed. The doors that refused to open for years are now responding to divine authority, your authority. These are not ordinary keys, they are symbols of spiritual access, gateways into new dimensions of purpose, influence, and revelation. You have walked through corridors of darkness, holding on to promises that seemed distant. You have prayed in hallways that led nowhere, or so you thought. But heaven was not denying entry, heaven was crafting keys. Every moment of obedience has been forming them. Every act of faith has been shaping them. You were being trusted with access. Keys are not given to strangers. They are entrusted to those who belong. And you belong to the kingdom. That is why you cannot remain at the same level. God is expanding your reach, deepening your discernment, and refining your voice. You are being handed authority to speak to doors and see them open, to declare freedom and watch it manifest. Think of the key as faith shaped by endurance. It is the tool forged in fire, polished by patience, and activated by obedience. What once required begging will now respond to your believing. You will no longer knock anxiously. You will turn the handle with confidence. Every key is custom made. Yours will not fit another's door, and theirs will not fit yours. The anointing you carry was designed specifically for your assignment. That is why comparison is a thief of clarity. Your journey may look slower, but it is safer because the architect of heaven is shaping a key in secret, and once it fits, no man can shut the door. The Spirit of the Lord says, I am giving you access to realms you once only dreamed of. You will enter spaces where your name was never mentioned and find favor waiting for you there. This is divine acceleration movement without explanation, promotion without permission. Remember, chosen one authority is not arrogance, it is alignment. The key works only when it turns in surrender, not pride. When you speak from humility, heaven responds with power. The authority of your words will break chains, unlock destinies, and ignite dormant callings, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. That verse is not poetic, it is prophetic. It means heaven trusts you enough to represent its power on earth. Every prayer you whisper, every word of faith you release, sends ripples through the unseen realm. You are not powerless. You are authorized. Picture yourself standing before a vast gate made of light. You hold a key that glows with divine fire. As you turn it, the hinges shift and the door swings open, not because of your strength, but because of your connection to heaven's authority. Behind that gate lies everything you've prayed for: peace, purpose, provision, and power. You might not see the key in your hand, but it's in your spirit. It's in every act of forgiveness, every choice to love, every yes whispered through tears. The key works through alignment. Each time you trust when you can't trace, another lock clicks open. Beloved, your access comes with assignment. These keys are not for decoration, they are for deployment. They open not only your doors, but doors for others. You are a gatekeeper, a carrier of freedom. Where others are bound, your words will break chain. Where hearts are locked, your presence will bring light. You are stepping into a realm where prayer feels like conversation and miracles feel like normal. You will walk into rooms that carry tension and leave them filled with peace. You will see mountains move not because you shouted louder, but because you believed deeper. The key was never about noise, it was about knowing. And as you walk through your new doors, remember to hold the handle with gratitude. Every blessing you touch is borrowed light from heaven. Use it to bless others, to lift, to heal, to inspire. You are not the owner, you are the steward. If this message touches your spirit, take a moment to breathe it in. Let the truth settle like sunlight through glass. Then, when you feel led, share this word so others can find their own keys. Your simple act of sharing is not just digital, it's spiritual. Every click becomes a seed. Every like becomes light spreading farther than you can imagine. And if your heart feels moved to give, to pour back into what pours into you, do it with joy, not pressure. Every gift, no matter how small, becomes a spark that keeps this message alive, allowing it to reach souls still waiting in the hallway of hesitation. Your generosity becomes another key one that unlocks doors for others. Subscribe, not as a follower, but as a fellow traveler. This journey is sacred, and your presence here is part of something eternal. The kingdom advances when the chosen rise together. So hold your key firmly, chosen one. The doors are opening, the locks are falling, and the light ahead is brighter than ever. Step through heaven has been waiting for you. Chosen one, before the upgrade can be completed. One final exchange must happen, the releasing of who you were to make room for who you are becoming. God cannot fill hands that still cling to yesterday. The old identity must be surrendered so that the divine identity can rise. For too long, you have carried names that heaven never gave you, labels born from pain, rejection, and misunderstanding. Words that others spoke over you have followed you like shadows, whispering lies into the quiet corners of your heart. But today, heaven tears off those false garments. You are not who they said you were. You are who God says you are. Let this truth settle deep into your soul. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not the product of broken promises or failed seasons. You are the chosen vessel of a living God who delights in restoration. What once disqualified you has now become the evidence of your redemption. When you look in the mirror, you might still see traces of the old you, the one who doubted, the one who feared, the one who felt unworthy of love. But the Spirit whispers, that version of you served its purpose. Now it's time to shed the skin of yesterday. Like a butterfly breaking free from its cocoon, you are stepping into your divine form. This transformation doesn't happen through effort. It happens through surrender. God is not asking you to perform, He's asking you to release. To trust that your identity was never meant to be built by the opinions of others, but revealed through the revelation of His voice. The upgrade begins the moment you stop apologizing for who heaven designed you to be. Chosen one. Identity is the root of destiny. You cannot walk in divine authority while wearing garments of shame. You cannot speak life while believing lies about your worth. Heaven is stripping off every label that does not align with your calling: fear, failure, not enough, forgotten. These names are being replaced with truth, beloved, anointed, victorious, unstoppable. The Word of God reminds us through the second letter to Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has gone, the new has come. That verse is not symbolic, it's spiritual reality. The moment you surrender the old identity, heaven issues a new one. You are not an improved version of your past self. You are a completely new creation. The memories that once hurt now testify. The weaknesses that once shamed you now shine with redemption's glory. Look back for a moment, not with regret but with reverence. Every broken season shaped your wisdom. Every failure refined your humility. Every rejection redirected your purpose. The person you used to be carried the seed of who you are now. The breaking was the birthplace of becoming. You are no longer a prisoner to people's perception. You don't need their approval to walk in your anointing. Heaven's validation outweighs human opinion. When God calls you chosen, No accusation can uncall you. The same voice that spoke light into darkness now speaks identity into you. You are radiant, renewed, and ready. But remember, letting go is a process. The enemy will try to lure you back into old mindsets, old wounds, old fears. He will whisper, "You haven't changed." When that happens, speak the truth aloud. "I am not who I was." Let those words become your daily anthem. Chosen one. You are walking into a realm of spiritual confidence. The shame that once silenced you will no longer dictate your steps. The new identity comes with new authority. You will move differently, think differently, and speak with a tone that carries heaven's echo. The weight you once carried in sorrow will now rest on you as glory. And as this revelation settles in your heart, a question rises: will you accept it? Will you fully embrace the divine identity written for you before time began? Because the moment you do, everything shifts. Heaven aligns around the identity you agree with. When you say yes to who you are, the universe must rearrange itself to make room for your destiny. This is the sacred invitation to walk unmasked, unashamed, and undeniably transformed. No longer the wounded one, but the healed one. No longer the seeker, but the son. No longer the overlooked, but the ordained. If this word resonates in your spirit, mark this moment. Let heaven hear your agreement. Comment the number 555 below. 5 is the number of grace, and triple grace means divine transformation, restoration, and completion. Let this be your prophetic act that declares, "I receive my new identity." Chosen one, heaven is smiling. The old name fades, the new name shines. You are no longer who you were, you are who you were always meant to be. Step into it. Chosen one. The wind of heaven is shifting around you. What once felt heavy now feels lighter. What once moved slowly will begin to move swiftly. This is the season of divine acceleration, the anointing where time bends in your favor. It is not because you worked harder, but because grace has chosen to move faster on your behalf. For years, it seemed like everything you prayed for was locked behind invisible walls. You watched others run ahead while you remained in place, faithful yet frustrated. But what you could not see was that heaven was aligning your timeline with divine precision. The delays were sacred, each one timed perfectly to ensure that when acceleration came, it would never crush you. God never forgets what He promises. He simply prepares the promise until both you and it are ready to meet. And now, chosen one, that moment is arriving. The things that once resisted you will start to recognize you. Opportunities will open naturally, almost effortlessly, as if the universe suddenly remembered your name. This is not luck, it's divine momentum. Acceleration in the kingdom doesn't mean chaos, it means clarity. It means the pieces that took years to gather will suddenly click into place. Relationships, resources, and revelations will converge in perfect order. You'll find yourself walking through doors you didn't even have to knock on because obedience already turned the handle. The divine rhythm of acceleration is not random. It's heaven's response to your endurance. Every tear, every lonely prayer, every moment you refused to quit, those were seeds. And now, the rain of favor is falling on them all at once. It will feel like everything is happening simultaneously, but it is simply harvest catching up with obedience. Chosen one. Imagine a river after a storm. For a while it appears calm. Then suddenly the waters surge, carrying everything downstream in a rush of movement. That's what's happening in your spirit. The flow of grace that once trickled is now overflowing. The current of divine purpose is stronger than your resistance. Let go and let it carry you forward. Do not fear this pace. It is not too much, it is right on time. Heaven has calculated your capacity. You have been trained in hiddenness, refined in waiting, and prepared for this very velocity. You will not break under the speed. You will soar within it. Think of Elijah, who outran the chariot of Ahab after years of drought and discouragement. That same spirit of acceleration rests on you. What used to take years will now unfold in weeks. What seemed impossible will become inevitable. You are stepping into a season where divine shortcuts replace human struggle. But acceleration comes with awareness. You must discern what deserves your attention. Not every door that opens is yours to enter. Some are distractions dressed as opportunities. The true sign of a divine door is peace. The same peace that guided you in the silence will now anchor you in the speed. The anointing of acceleration is not just about faster blessings, it's about multiplied impact. Your words will carry weight. Your ideas will spread beyond your reach. Your presence will ignite change in spaces that once ignored your voice. The grace upon you will draw alignment wherever you go. As the Spirit reminds us in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 13. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes. This is that day. You have entered the overlap where sowing and reaping happen at once, where prayer and answer collide, where waiting becomes walking. Heaven is collapsing the distance between petition and manifestation. Chosen one. Acceleration does not mean rushing. It means resting while things move swiftly around you. It is a divine paradox. You stand still in faith while God moves everything forward. You won't need to chase. You'll simply need to stay aligned. The grace of acceleration is not earned by effort, it is sustained by trust. Do not try to manage the miracle. Simply walk in rhythm with the one who makes it happen. The same Spirit that began this good work will sustain it until completion. You will look back soon and realize that years of waiting were redeemed in a single season of divine speed. And as you move, keep your heart anchored. Remember the lessons learned in silence, the humility built in hiding, the faith tested in fire. Those are the stabilizers that will keep you grounded while you soar. Acceleration without character leads to collapse, but acceleration with wisdom leads to legacy. Chosen one, the wind of heaven is behind you now. What was hard will become easy. What was slow will become swift. This is your time, not because you forced it, but because God released it. Step into the flow and let the river carry you where striving never could. Chosen one, you have endured the battle long enough to learn its language. You know the sound of spiritual warfare, the whispers of doubt, the weight of weariness, the shadows that stalk your peace. But what you might not have realized until now is that every fight you survived has been turning into wisdom. You are no longer only a warrior. You are becoming a strategist in the Spirit. There was a time when every conflict felt personal. You thought people were your enemies, that rejection was random, that opposition meant failure. But now your vision is sharper. You see beyond the surface. You understand that the real war has never been flesh against flesh. It has always been light against darkness, truth against deception, destiny against distraction. Every attack carried an assignment, but every victory carried a lesson. You learned that sometimes the enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. He sends noise, not because he can stop you, but because he knows your focus frightens him. The moment you discovered that truth, the battlefield changed. You stopped swinging wildly and started fighting wisely. The wisdom forged in warfare is unlike any other. It teaches you discernment in danger and peace in pressure. You begin to recognize patterns, how the enemy always strikes hardest before a breakthrough, how storms intensify right before sunrise, You see that not every delay is demonic and not every open door is divine. That understanding is power. Chosen one, your scars are no longer symbols of pain, they are maps of revelation. You know now where traps hide. You can smell deception before it arrives. Heaven has trained your senses to recognize spiritual climate. Where you once reacted in fear, you now respond with faith. The same battles that once drained you now feed your discernment. There was a season when you prayed for peace by asking God to remove the battle. Now you've matured, you pray for wisdom to fight with grace. That's the mark of transformation. You no longer ask to escape the fire, you ask to learn its rhythm. You've discovered that even flames can forge faith. The Spirit has been teaching you that wisdom is the greatest weapon. It is sharper than any sword and quieter than any shout. It wins wars without wasting energy. It knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. Wisdom is how heaven fights through you. Chosen one. This is why your training has been so intense. You were not only being taught how to survive, you were being trusted to lead. Those who are called to guide others through warfare must first know what victory costs. You carry that knowledge now, not as theory but as testimony. You have walked through fire and found God faithful in the furnace. You've learned that sometimes the greatest weapon is stillness. The enemy expects chaos, but he cannot fight peace. When you choose to stay calm in the storm, you confuse hell itself. Every time you refuse to react in fear, you remind the darkness that its tactics no longer work. You've mastered a higher kind of warfare, the warfare of wisdom, as the ancient words in the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 30 declare there is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. That truth has been written across your spirit. You've seen the enemy's plans collapse under divine sovereignty. You've witnessed moments when everything should have fallen apart, but grace held it together. Every battle proved that victory doesn't come from strength, but from standing in the shadow of the Almighty. You are now entering a new rhythm of warfare. No longer will you live from battle to battle. You will live from revelation to revelation. The war is no longer about survival, it's about strategy. You will move with precision, guided not by emotion but by divine instruction. You'll speak less and see more. You'll act less and accomplish more, because you're no longer fighting for victory, you're fighting from victory. This wisdom is your inheritance. It is what separates the trained from the chosen. Others may still panic when storms appear, but you will smile, knowing that the same God who parted the sea still commands the wind. You have walked with him long enough to know his patterns. Do not despise the battles that taught you these truths. Without them, your wisdom would lack depth, your voice would lack weight, and your faith would lack foundation. Warfare was your classroom. Wisdom is your degree. You did not graduate by avoiding pain. You graduated by growing through it. Chosen one, you are not who you were at the start of this war. You've been tempered by trials, refined by revelation, and strengthened by surrender. You no longer just fight, you build. You no longer just survive, you see. The sword is still in your hand, but the crown is forming on your head. Chosen one, while you have been fighting battles on earth, heaven has been assembling reinforcements. The spiritual realm is not silent concerning you. Angelic movement surrounds your name. Every prayer you whispered, every tear you shed, every time you chose faith over fear, heaven responded. What you could not see was that divine help was already on its way. There are angels on assignment sent not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. They are not distant, glowing beings with unreachable power. They are the unseen hands of divine order, orchestrating breakthroughs behind the veil of time. Their presence is quiet but mighty. You do not always sense them, but their activity shifts the unseen atmosphere around you. You were never meant to fight alone. The kingdom of heaven operates as an army, not a solo mission. When you felt surrounded by darkness, you were, in truth, surrounded by light. The same way Elisha's servant saw the hills filled with chariots of fire. Heaven has stationed protection around you. Every demonic plan has been intercepted before it could even touch you. When doors closed unexpectedly, it was often an angel gently redirecting your steps. When accidents nearly happened but didn't, it was the hand of divine protection. When peace came over you at midnight after tears and trembling, it was the presence of the unseen standing guard over your heart. Chosen one, you are never outnumbered. For every attack of darkness, heaven releases armies of light. The strength that carried you through sleepless nights was not your own. It was the touch of grace moving through unseen wings. You did not endure by willpower, you endured by divine reinforcement. There are assignments heaven takes personally, your life is one of them. Angels do not serve ideas, they serve divine instruction. And God has spoken over you. Protect this one, guide this one, lift this one. They walk unseen through the streets you travel, stand beside your bed when you dream, and whisper courage when your faith begins to waver. You may never know how many times heaven intervened, how many times an unseen hand moved a person, delayed a moment, or closed a path to save you from harm. What looked like coincidence was actually divine choreography. Every near miss was a miracle unannounced. As the voice of God thundered in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That is not metaphor, it is a living reality. You walk daily within a network of divine guardianship. This protection is not passive, it is powerful. It surrounds you like armor, deflecting attacks before they reach your spirit. The enemy sees the shield, even when you cannot. Chosen one. This revelation should not make you proud, but peaceful. You are covered. The outcome of every battle was already decided long before the first strike. The angels of the Lord encamp around those who fear him. You are encircled by brilliance, guarded by beings who move at the speed of divine command. But these angels are not only protectors, they are carriers of purpose. Some come to deliver clarity, others to strengthen resolve. They inspire divine ideas, open hidden doors, and sometimes they even speak through people you meet without you realizing it. A simple encounter, a stranger's kind word, a sudden opportunity, all are threads in heaven's design, woven by unseen hands. Do not be surprised when things begin to move more swiftly. It is because you are no longer fighting alone. The reinforcements have arrived, and when God sends help, it multiplies beyond what logic can contain. You will find that what once felt impossible will begin to unfold with divine ease. Angels respond to alignment, not anxiety. They move when faith speaks. Every time you declare God's promise instead of your pain, heaven dispatches movement. Every time you choose peace over panic, you create space for miracles. The unseen realm listens when you speak faith. Chosen one. Your prayers are not empty words thrown into the void, they are coordinates. They tell heaven where to move, what to release, and whom to send. Each amen you whisper becomes an assignment in motion. Even now, heaven is working behind the scenes, adjusting outcomes to favor your destiny. So breathe in the peace of divine assurance. You are guarded, you are guided, you are never alone. The armies of heaven move at the rhythm of your faith, surrounding you with the kind of protection that never sleeps, never tires, and never fails. If this word resonates deep in your spirit, Let your heart echo your awareness. Comment these words below as a seal of faith: I am covered. Say it not out of fear, but out of recognition. It is your declaration that you are not alone, that divine help walks beside you, that heaven's host has already gone before you to clear your path. The unseen is working, the light is winning, and the angels are on assignment for you. Chosen one. When God calls your name in heaven's council, He does not speak of survival, He speaks of influence. You were never created merely to exist. You were designed to impact. The season of invisibility is ending, and the mantle of influence is being draped upon your shoulders. You are not stepping into popularity, you are stepping into purpose. Think of a torch carried through generations. Each bearer holds it for a time, not for attention, but for illumination. That's you now. You are the torchbearer in your bloodline, chosen to light paths others were too afraid to walk. Your words, your faith, your resilience, they have weight in the unseen world. Influence in the kingdom is not about fame, it's about flame. God does not make you visible to glorify you. He makes you visible to glorify Himself through you. The spotlight of heaven is a sacred responsibility, not a stage of pride. You are called to be a vessel where truth and tenderness meet, where your story becomes someone else's survival manual. For years, you have been hidden like a seed beneath the soil. It felt dark, lonely, and forgotten. But the seed never dies in darkness, it develops. The soil was your training ground, the pressure was your teacher, and now, heaven says, rise. The sprout breaks through not by strength, but by timing. The same God who planted you is now revealing you. You will begin to notice your words carrying unusual power. Conversations that used to fade will now linger. People will listen differently when you speak. That is the sign of the mantle when heaven amplifies your voice beyond natural reach. Do not underestimate how God can use your presence to shift an entire atmosphere. You will also notice subtle miracles following your words, moments where a heart softens, a door opens, or peace fills a troubled mind after you speak. These are confirmations that heaven flows through you. Influence in its purest form is not about numbers, it's about transformation, one soul at a time, one light awakening another. As the Spirit declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That verse is not poetry, it's prophecy. You have been positioned exactly where you are for divine influence, not by accident, but by appointment. Every experience you've endured has prepared you to stand in spaces others cannot. You carry a frequency that heaven recognizes and earth responds to. Chosen one, your mantle of influence is not loud, it is luminous. It shines through compassion, through wisdom, through authenticity. Influence without love is noise, but influence fueled by grace becomes healing. When you walk into a room, heaven expects the atmosphere to shift, not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you. Think of yourself as a candle in a cathedral. You may not fill the entire space with your flame, but even one flicker disrupts the darkness. You are not called to light every room, only the one God places you in. And from that one room, the glow spreads, touching lives you may never meet. In this next season, doors will open not only for opportunity, but for impact. Be ready to speak when heaven nudges you, to move when grace guides you, and to remain humble when favor flows. The influence you carry will not be sustained by charisma, but by character. Stay close to the source of your light, and you will never burn out. And if this word speaks deeply to your spirit, if something inside you recognizes that the mantle is already resting upon your shoulders, then let's do something together. Let's carry this light farther. When you like this message, it's more than a gesture, it's fuel for the flame. When you share it, it's not just an action, it's a torch passed forward, reaching hearts you may never see, but heaven will count. When you subscribe, you're not joining a channel, you're stepping into a movement of light carriers across the earth. And if your heart feels stirred to give, to sow into the soil of this message, do it not from obligation, but from overflow. Every seed you plant becomes a spark that lights another soul. Every gift, no matter the size, becomes oil that keeps the fire burning. You are not donating to a cause, you are partnering with heaven's assignment to spread light where darkness lingers. Picture this: every act of generosity, every share, every word of encouragement, it's like another candle being lit in a vast night. Alone, it flickers. Together, we become a constellation of purpose. And from above, heaven looks down and smiles, seeing its children shining where shadows once ruled. So walk boldly in this mantle, chosen one. You are not here by coincidence. You are the answer to someone's silent prayer, the light to another's long night. And as you move forward, remember this truth: real influence does not seek attention. It creates transformation. Your time is now. Your light is ready. Let heaven use you to illuminate the world. Chosen one, before every elevation comes a cleansing. Before new glory can settle upon your life, there must be a purging fire. This is not punishment, it is purification. God's love is a consuming flame, not to destroy you, but to refine you until nothing false remains. The purging is proof that you are being trusted with more. You might feel it already: the restlessness, the sense that certain things no longer fit. Old habits start to feel heavy. Familiar environments start to lose their comfort. And people who once walked closely with you now drift away. It's not because something is wrong, it's because something holy is happening. Heaven is sifting your surroundings, separating what can stay from what must go. Fire is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot carry the residue of yesterday into the purity of tomorrow. When God sends His refining flame, He is burning away fear, doubt, pride, and anything that would dim the brightness of your destiny. The pain of release is temporary, but the purity that follows is eternal. There is a sacred pattern in the kingdom. Before God promotes, He purifies. Before He multiplies, He simplifies. Before He gives power, He removes pollution. The purging fire is heaven's kindness disguised as discomfort. Every area of your life that feels like it's falling apart may actually be falling into divine order. Think of gold placed in a furnace. The heat doesn't create the gold, it reveals it. The fire only exposes what's been hiding beneath the surface all along. Likewise, the trials you face don't define you. They reveal the treasure already inside you. The fire is never meant to consume the gold, only the dross. You might not realize it, but the moments that burn the most have left you shining the brightest. Each time life's fire touched you, something impure melted away. You are lighter now, cleaner in spirit, sharper in discernment. This purification is what separates the called from the chosen. Chosen one, understand this: fire doesn't visit the empty, it comes for the valuable. You are being refined because you are rare. Heaven doesn't waste flames on what has no purpose. So if the heat feels intense, it's because the calling on your life is immense. You've probably noticed that certain relationships are fading, not because of conflict, but because of contrast. When light increases, shadows adjust. Some people cannot handle the radiance of who you are becoming. Don't chase what God is burning away. Release it with reverence. What leaves during the fire was never meant to survive your next level. Even your emotions are being purified. God is healing the hidden places you stopped showing anyone. The tears you've cried in silence were washing your soul. The heaviness you've carried was never meant to stay. It was meant to be surrendered. The purging fire does not come to take, it comes to transform. The Spirit whispered this truth through the book of Malachi, chapter 3. Verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. That image is powerful. He sits as a refiner. That means God is not distant during your fire. He is present, watching carefully, ensuring the flame never burns too long or too deep. A refiner never leaves the metal unattended, and neither does God leave you in your trials. The very moment you are purified, He turns down the heat. Chosen one, when you come out of this season, you will not smell like smoke. You will carry the fragrance of sanctification. Your words will have more weight, your presence more peace. You will move with quiet authority because the fire has silenced every unnecessary noise within you. This is why some things feel stripped away. It's not loss, it's clarity. God is simplifying your life so that your power can concentrate. What remains after the purging is pure purpose, refined love, and faith that doesn't fracture under pressure. You will soon notice that the very areas where you once felt the most broken are now the ones that shine with the most glory. The fire that tried to consume you has become the very light guiding others. People will ask how you survived, and you will answer, I didn't just survive, I was refined. The purging fire is heaven's sculptor, shaping the chosen into vessels of enduring beauty. You are being polished for a higher calling. Every test you've endured, every tear you've shed, every dream that was delayed, each has been part of this divine purification. So don't resist the heat. Let it do its holy work. Soon, the flames will fade, and what will remain is brilliance, faith without fear, love without limits, purpose without pride. When the fire finishes, you will see that what looked like loss was preparation for the glory that could only rest on the purified. You will emerge radiant, refined, and ready. The purging was never meant to hurt you, it was meant to reveal you. Chosen one, the hour of confirmation has arrived. What heaven spoke in secret will now begin to echo in the natural. You have carried promises in your heart, seeds of prophecy that seemed dormant for too long. But now, like flowers after a long winter, they are beginning to bloom. This is not coincidence, this is prophetic confirmation. For months, maybe even years, you have wondered, did I really hear God? Was that word truly for me? You questioned the timing, the silence, and the absence of visible proof. But heaven never forgets what it plants. Every divine promise has a due date. Even when it seemed buried beneath disappointment, the Word of God was still alive, pulsing beneath the soil of time. You are entering a season when signs will no longer be subtle. God is making it unmistakably clear that His hand has been upon your journey. Conversations will align. Opportunities will appear without striving. Encounters will carry divine timing too precise to call random. This is how heaven confirms what your spirit already knew but your mind doubted. Chosen one, the Lord does not waste words. If He said it, He meant it. The promises you wrote down in tears are now rising with power. The same God who whispered to you in stillness is now shouting through circumstance. I have not forgotten you. Even your delays are beginning to make sense. What once seemed like detours are now revealed as directions. You see, God often confirms in patterns small, repeating reminders that weave through your days like threads of light. It might be a phrase someone says, a song that stirs your spirit, a number that keeps appearing, or a door that opens at just the right moment. These are not coincidences, they are divine signals. Heaven speaks through alignment. Every confirmation carries a message: keep going. You are on the right path. It's God's way of saying, I'm still here. I still intend to finish what I started. As the apostle wrote in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That verse is your anchor. The work began by heaven cannot be halted by human hands. The word spoken over you will not return void. It may have taken longer than you expected, but it is right on heaven's schedule. Chosen one. This is the moment when prophecy meets manifestation. What was spiritual is becoming visible. What was hidden is being highlighted. The echo of heaven's promise is now vibrating through your reality. The waiting season has matured your faith. Now faith will manifest your waiting. You will begin to see confirmation in unexpected places through people who speak without knowing they are prophesying. Through opportunities that unfold with divine precision. Through breakthroughs that feel like déjà vu because your spirit saw them long before your eyes did. Don't let your heart grow numb to the signs. They are love letters from heaven, saying, you are still seen, you are still chosen. Each confirmation carries energy, momentum, and peace. When God confirms, confusion breaks. You will feel clarity in your chest, a calm certainty that this is Him. The most powerful confirmations often arrive when you least expect them during an ordinary day, in the middle of your routine, right when you were ready to give up. That's because God delights in surprising the weary. Just when your hope begins to flicker, He sends light to remind you that the fire still burns. Chosen one. Heaven is faithful to its word. Every seed of prophecy carries a promise, and every promise carries proof. You are entering a rhythm of divine affirmation where you will no longer question whether you are in alignment, you will simply know. And when the signs start to multiply, don't keep them to yourself. Speak them. Testify. Each time you share a confirmation, it strengthens another believer's faith. The same word that encouraged you will become fuel for someone else's journey. You are walking into a season where miracles will no longer surprise you. They will surround you. You will live in the flow of prophetic fulfillment. The old doubts that once whispered maybe will fade into a confident surely. And as you read this, if something within you feels that quiet, undeniable yes, then that in itself is confirmation. The spirit in you recognizes the sound of home. You are hearing heaven's echo saying, I am not finished, I am just beginning. Mark this moment in your spirit. Let it be the line in your story where uncertainty ends and assurance begins. God is confirming your calling, your direction, and your destiny. Nothing can reverse what He has sealed. If this resonates within you, let your faith answer heaven's message. Comment the number 888 below. 8 represents new beginnings. And this triple alignment means heaven's promises are entering full manifestation. Let it be your public agreement with the private confirmation your spirit already received. Chosen one. The proof is here. The signs are aligning. The word has not failed you and it never will. Chosen one. Divine connections are no longer distant promises, they are awakening around you like dawn breaking through the horizon. You may not notice it immediately, but heaven is weaving new alignments into the fabric of your journey. Threads once scattered are now being gathered. People whose spirits mirror your own are being drawn into your path, not for convenience, but for kingdom purpose. You see, destiny is rarely fulfilled in isolation. Even those called to wilderness seasons were never meant to remain there forever. The solitude you once endured was never to teach you loneliness, but recognition. It trained your spirit to discern authenticity from imitation. You had to first learn the sound of God's voice alone so you could recognize it when it spoke through others. For a long time, you walked with vision but without validation, with passion but without partnership. You poured into others who could not pour back, spoke truth into ears that did not want to hear, and stood alone in moments when you most needed understanding. It was painful, but it was also sacred, because in that silence, heaven was preparing your true circle. Now, the atmosphere is shifting. The people coming into your life are not random, they are answers wrapped in human form. They will not compete with your calling, they will complement it. These are covenant connections. Souls assigned to align, to strengthen, and to multiply what God is doing through you. Chosen one. Divine connections are different from casual acquaintances. You will know them not by excitement, but by peace. There will be a deep, unspoken recognition as though your spirits have already met before your hands ever did. They will speak words that echo what heaven already told you in private. They will see your potential without jealousy, and they will love you without conditions. These connections are not one-sided. Each person heaven sends to you also carries a need only you can meet. Divine partnership is mutual refinement. You sharpen one another. You lift one another. You call out greatness from places that still feel fragile. This is how heaven builds through people, through unity, through the collision of individual flames that together become an unquenchable fire. You may feel the Spirit whispering to you about someone new, a conversation that felt ordinary but carried an unusual depth, a meeting that seemed accidental but felt divine. Pay attention. The smallest exchanges can carry eternal significance when heaven is behind them. The kingdom moves subtly through what appears simple. As the sacred text reminds us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. That is what this season is about, sharpening. No sword can remain sharp in solitude. It requires friction. And friction, though sometimes uncomfortable, creates brilliance. Every divine connection sent into your life has been shaped by their own fire, refined by their own pain, so that when you meet, your stories fit like pieces of a puzzle. God is assembling something larger than you can see. Every relationship He sends is a living stone in the structure of your destiny. Some will teach you endurance, others will open doors, and a few will simply remind you that love still exists in its purest, God-breathed form. You might wonder why these connections did not appear sooner. The answer is simple. Earlier, you would not have recognized them. You would have mistaken distraction for destiny. But now, your discernment is mature. Your heart has been purified by time and testing. You can see through charm and recognize character. That maturity is what allows you to steward divine relationships without losing focus. Chosen one, as these alignments unfold, be intentional yet gentle. Guard your peace, but don't build walls so high that love cannot climb them. Let discernment lead you, not fear. Every person sent by heaven comes carrying a portion of grace that adds to your mission. Some of them will challenge you to grow in ways that stretch your comfort. That stretching is holy. It's heaven's way of enlarging your capacity for connection. Real love, real partnership, real friendship, they refine you, not just comfort you. Do not overlook the quiet ones, either the people who show up without fanfare, who simply stay consistent. Those are often the truest gifts. Divine connections rarely announce themselves with noise. They reveal themselves through peace. And when these relationships settle into your life, you'll notice that your strength multiplies, your creativity blossoms, and your sense of purpose sharpens. You'll find yourself doing things you once thought impossible, not because of competition, but because of companionship. Heaven designed it this way. Grace flows more freely through agreement than through isolation. Every connection, every partnership, every alignment sent by God is both a blessing and a responsibility. Treat them with reverence, nurture them with prayer, and remember the hands that God joins. No darkness can divide. Chosen one, your days of walking alone are fading. Heaven is expanding your circle with those who carry your same fire. You are being surrounded by hearts that understand, words that build, and spirits that carry the sound of home. This is not coincidence, it is covenant. Chosen one, as divine connections awaken and align around you. Another shift begins quietly, one that reaches into the very core of provision and purpose. This is the season where heaven begins to release what you need to fulfill what you've been called to do. You are stepping into kingdom wealth, not the kind measured by status or luxury, but by stewardship and sacred responsibility. For too long, you have been surviving when you were meant to overflow. You learned how to stretch little and still give much, how to trust God when resources seemed scarce. Those seasons were training, not punishment. They taught you that provision doesn't begin with numbers, it begins with faith. You learned that true wealth is not what you hold in your hand, but what you hold in your heart. Now the tide of provision is shifting. The same faith that carried you through famine will now guide you through abundance. But abundance in the kingdom looks different from the world's version. The world says wealth is ownership. Heaven says wealth is trust. What God is releasing into your hands in this new season is not just for comfort, it's for calling. Every blessing you receive now will carry assignment. Each resource is a seed meant to multiply purpose. Money, ideas, influence, and opportunity will flow toward you not because you chase them, but because you are aligned with the source. When God finds a vessel he can trust, he fills it to overflow, not to hoard, but to pour. Chosen one, remember, prosperity without purpose leads to pride, but prosperity with purpose becomes power. Heaven is teaching you to see wealth not as personal gain, but as divine fuel for greater work. You are a distributor of grace, a channel of generosity. What flows through you will touch others far beyond your reach. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 18, it is written, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant." This verse reveals the heart of kingdom wealth. It is not luck or labor alone, but covenant. The ability, the creativity, the open doors all come from him. When you remember the source, you will never worship the resource. This new dimension of abundance requires maturity. The blessings will come quickly, but they must be handled carefully. The same hands that once prayed for provision must now practice discernment. Every door that opens will not be divine. Some will tempt you toward distraction, others toward dependency. But you have been trained in scarcity so that you would never be seduced by surplus. God trusts you now to handle what others might misuse. You know how to give without grumbling, how to bless without boasting. You've learned that generosity breaks cycles of lack and opens portals of favor. When you release what you have, heaven multiplies what remains. Chosen one, this shift into kingdom wealth is not only financial, it's spiritual. You are being entrusted with wisdom, with revelation, with authority. These are riches that cannot be stolen. Every insight you receive, every vision that awakens in your spirit, every word that heals another soul, these are treasures that mark you as heaven's steward. You will also see physical manifestations. Debts canceled, opportunities rising, partnerships aligning. but the greatest change will happen within. You will no longer carry the anxiety of provision because you will walk in the rhythm of divine supply. The God who called you will also equip you. He is too faithful to fund only half of your assignment. Understand this kingdom wealth flows in purpose, not in pride. It moves toward obedience, not indulgence. The more you align with heaven's agenda, the more resources will align with you. You are stepping into the dimension where needs meet miracles naturally, where your not enough becomes more than enough in His hands. This is not about becoming rich. It's about becoming ready to build, to bless, to release. God does not bless you to elevate your comfort. He blesses you to extend His covenant. You are being raised as a pillar of provision, a reminder that prosperity, when purified by purpose, becomes worship. The wealth that is coming will carry a fragrance of peace. It will not come from striving, but from flow. You will not chase it. It will locate you. Because heaven does not invest in greed, it invests in generosity. So do not shrink from this calling. Some will misunderstand your elevation, thinking it came easily. But you will know the truth that every gift flowing now was once a tear sown in trust. You paid the price in patience, and now the return arrives in divine timing. Chosen one, you are stepping into the abundance of assignment. Heaven's treasury is opening, not because you demanded it, but because you endured. The years of lack were not wasted. They purified your heart so that when the overflow comes, it will not drown you. You will build what others abandoned. You will restore what others forgot. You will fund what others feared. This is your season of kingdom wealth, where your hands become extensions of heaven's generosity, and every act of giving becomes an act of glory. Chosen one, when God crowns a life, He does not do it for decoration, He does it for delegation. The crown is never an ornament of pride. It is a symbol of responsibility. You have been refined through fire, prepared through pressure, and now heaven places authority upon your head. This is your crown of responsibility. For many crowns represent rest, but for the chosen they represent readiness. You are stepping into a new level of stewardship, where blessings are no longer just for you, they are entrusted through you. Heaven is trusting you with influence, with wisdom, and with people. Every gift you've been given now carries a mission. The weight you feel on your spirit is not heaviness, it's holy authority. Picture a king or queen standing before their people. The crown they wear does not make them powerful. It reminds them of their duty to serve. Likewise, your crown is not about control, it's about calling. You are not being elevated to escape responsibility, but to expand it. God has chosen you as a leader in your sphere, not through title, but through example. This crown was not placed on you suddenly. It was forged in the fire of surrender. Every moment you chose obedience over opinion, humility over applause, compassion over comfort. You were being fitted for this moment. Now, the authority you carry will speak louder than your words. But remember, chosen one, every crown comes with a cross. You cannot wear one without the other. To carry heaven's authority, you must continue walking in heaven's humility. The higher you rise, the lower you must bow. True greatness in the kingdom is measured not by who serves you, but by how deeply you serve others. The sacred texts remind us in the book of 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away." That is your eternal reminder. The glory you carry is not for earthly applause, it is for eternal impact. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every hidden prayer contributes to a legacy that will outlive you. The crown upon your spirit shines brightest when you lift others instead of yourself. Think of your influence like a garden. God gives you soil, seed, and sunlight. Your role is to nurture what's planted, to water it with love, guard it from weeds of pride, and ensure that it bears fruit for others to taste. Some will be nourished by your words, others by your actions. Your crown, like the sun, is not meant to be admired but to give light. You are stepping into leadership without position, impact without announcement. The world will not always understand this kind of authority, but heaven will affirm it again and again. Doors will open, not because you knock harder, but because your heart carries the fragrance of service. You will lead by listening, heal by helping, and inspire by simply being present. In this sacred elevation, you will sometimes feel the weight of misunderstanding. Not everyone will see the purity of your intentions. Some will misinterpret your confidence as arrogance, your purpose as ambition. When that happens, stay quiet in the storm. Let your fruit speak where words would fail. The crown does not need to defend itself, it simply shines. Chosen one. If this message stirs something deep within you, take a moment to let gratitude flow. You have been entrusted with more than you realize. And if this word finds you at a turning point, if it feels like heaven is confirming your next step, then help this light reach further. When you like this message, think of it as a ripple in still water. When you share it, it becomes a stream flowing towards someone who's thirsty for hope. When you subscribe, it's like building a bridge between your story and the stories yet to be written. And when you give, whether it's a word of encouragement, a prayer, or a seed of support, you are adding another brick to the altar of light we're building together. Your generosity, whether through time, talent, or treasure, keeps this divine conversation alive. It's how messages like this continue to reach souls still standing in the shadows, waiting for their reminder that they, too, are chosen. Take a moment to reflect, and if this word truly resonates, leave a comment below. Share one sentence of what this crown means to you. Your words might be the very confirmation someone else needs. You are crowned not just for recognition, but for responsibility. You are called not just to shine, but to serve. And as you carry this crown into the world, remember, the heaviest crowns are always given to the strongest hearts. You have been prepared for this. You have been trusted with this. You will not fail. Chosen one, walk forward with quiet majesty. Let your life be the sermon, your service the song, your humility the halo. The kingdom recognizes you now not for what you have gained, but for what you are ready to give. Chosen one, you have walked through the fire, carried the crown, and learned the rhythm of divine timing. Now heaven invites you into something even deeper, unshakable faith. This is not the fragile faith that wavers in storms. It is the kind that stands when the ground trembles, the kind that trusts even when the outcome remains unseen. You have seen enough to know that God never fails, yet your heart still carries echoes of past uncertainty. That's natural. Faith is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. Every time you chose to believe when logic told you to quit, you were strengthening the muscles of your spirit. Now, those muscles are ready to carry miracles. Faith is not built in calm waters, it is forged in storms. The waves that once threatened to drown you were actually teaching you how to walk. The nights when prayers seemed unanswered were lessons in trust, not tests of worth. Heaven never intended to punish your patience, it meant to prove your endurance. There were moments when you thought your faith was fading, but in truth, it was deepening. What once depended on signs now depends on surrender. You have learned to believe not because you can see the outcome, but because you know the author. And that is the difference between borrowed faith and built faith. Unshakable faith does not mean you never question, it means you never quit. It is the still voice in the center of chaos saying, "I know whom I have believed." It is standing on promises that look impossible and declaring, "Even if he slays me, I will trust him." That level of faith is not inherited, it is forged. Chosen one, your spirit has graduated from reaction to revelation. You no longer panic when storms arise. You perceive purpose within them. You have learned that the same God who calms the sea also walks upon it. When he feels silent, he is not absent. He is testing whether you recognize his presence even without the sound of his voice. Faith at this level becomes a language between you and heaven. You begin to sense things before they happen. You respond to whispers, not shouts. You see alignment where others see coincidence. This is the intimacy of faith. It turns ordinary moments into sacred encounters. The sacred words recorded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. Verse 1 declare, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." That verse is not merely a definition, it is a doorway. It reveals that faith is tangible in heaven's realm even when invisible on earth. Your prayers are not empty words, they are blueprints forming in the unseen, awaiting the moment God says, "Now." Chosen one, you have reached the stage where faith becomes your default posture. You no longer need external proof to move forward. Peace itself becomes your confirmation. You understand now that not every miracle is loud, some come quietly, disguised as ordinary days that turn out to be divine turning points. Unshakable faith doesn't demand understanding, it demands agreement. It doesn't need to know how, it simply says yes. It doesn't ask for shortcuts, it endures the process, knowing that every detour hides a deeper revelation. The beauty of this faith is its resilience. It does not crack under criticism or crumble under delay. It doesn't need validation because it already carries confirmation. Even when the world around you wobbles, your spirit stays anchored. You have become like a tree planted by living water. Storms may sway you, but they cannot uproot you. Chosen one. Heaven delights in this kind of faith. It is the fragrance that draws favor. It is the melody that moves mountains. And it is the foundation upon which future generations will build their own belief. Your endurance becomes their encouragement. Your testimony becomes their teacher. There will still be days of uncertainty. Faith does not eliminate struggle, it transforms how you see it. You will face moments when God feels distant, but that distance will invite deeper trust. You will still have questions, but faith will teach you that not every answer is meant for now, some are meant for eternity. This unshakable faith is your inheritance. It is the crown beneath every battle, the root beneath every blessing. You have become a living testament that faith is not fragile, it is fireproof. It bends but does not break. It waits but does not waver. Chosen one, you have moved from believing in God to believing with God. Your heart beats in rhythm with His promises. Your steps move to the cadence of His calling. You no longer walk by sight but by certainty that His word never fails. So keep standing. Even when the ground feels uncertain, keep walking. Even when the road disappears. Because faith, real faith, does not need visibility, it needs vision. And your vision is clear, God is faithful still. Chosen one, everything that heaven has been shaping within you now begins to take form in the natural. The unseen is becoming visible. The promises are turning into presence. And the transformation that began in silence now stands in the open for all to witness. This is the manifestation of the upgrade, the moment when prophecy and reality meet. For so long, you have walked by faith, trusting words that others could not see, carrying visions that seemed impossible to explain. You held on when everything told you to let go. And now, heaven rewards your endurance. What once felt like waiting has become birthing. What once felt like loss now reveals itself as divine rearrangement. The hidden work is complete, and the world will soon see the evidence of what God has been building within you. Manifestation is not a single event, it is a revealing. It's when the internal alignment you've cultivated begins to shape your external world. The peace that once lived only in prayer now fills your days. The faith that once fought in whispers now speaks with authority. The joy that once flickered in small moments now burns like a steady flame. You will begin to notice that the same places that once held your pain now carry your power. The memories that once broke you will become testimonies that heal others. The people who once questioned your process will see the proof of your promise. This is not revenge, it's redemption. Heaven is not vindicating your ego, it's vindicating your purpose. You are never being punished, you are being polished. Every rough edge has been refined by grace. Every unanswered prayer has matured your patience. Every closed door has redirected your steps toward divine precision. And now, the orchestration of God's timing plays perfectly in your life. You are not early, not late, just right on heaven's schedule. The manifestation of the upgrade does not mean everything will suddenly be easy, but it means everything will now make sense. You will see how every fragment of your story fits into a divine mosaic that could only be crafted by the Master's hand. The pain had purpose, the silence had meaning, and the waiting was never wasted, as we are reminded in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. That is your final confirmation. The revelation you carried is now arriving at its appointed time. It could not come sooner because you were still being prepared to handle it. Heaven's promises are never rushed. They are released when readiness meets revelation. Chosen one, the shift you feel is permanent. You will walk differently now, not from striving, but from settled authority. Your confidence is no longer borrowed from circumstance. It flows directly from identity. You have become the living proof that transformation is real, that obedience is never wasted, that faith always finishes what it starts. People will sense the difference before you even speak. There will be a calm about you, a grounded peace that cannot be shaken. You will walk into rooms and bring stability where there was confusion, clarity where there was doubt. This is not charisma, it is consecration. You are carrying the fragrance of fulfillment. Even creation responds to those who are in divine alignment. The same doors that once resisted you will now open on command. The same atmosphere that once drained you will now draw from your strength. You are no longer merely surviving the environment, you are transforming it. That is what it means to live in manifestation. Do not look for validation from the same voices that doubted you. Their recognition is not required for your reward. Heaven's applause is enough. The fruit of your life will speak for itself, and time will tell the story better than any explanation could. Chosen one, your life is about to become a living altar, a place where others encounter proof that God still fulfills promises. Every area that once carried shame will now shine with evidence of grace. Every wound will bear witness to the one who heals. The manifestation is not just about blessing, it's about becoming. You are now the answer to the very prayers you once prayed. You have moved from seeking miracles to being one. And as you live out this new rhythm of grace, remember the same God who fulfilled this chapter will guide you through the next. This manifestation is not the end, it is the beginning of a greater unfolding. The upgrade you carry is not static, it continues to evolve, expand, and overflow. You will keep rising, not by effort, but by alignment. What began as faith now functions as fullness. What once existed in promise now lives in power. Chosen one, step forward in quiet confidence. The world is watching not for perfection, but for authenticity in your story. Refined by grace and anchored in truth, will draw many back to hope. The manifestation is here. The waiting is over, and heaven's fingerprints are all over your life. Chosen one, you have reached the end of this divine journey. But what God has begun through these words is only beginning within you. Every revelation, every whisper, every line written here has been heaven's way of reminding you your story was never ordinary. You are chosen, appointed, and anointed for this exact moment in time. Pause for a breath and let gratitude settle over you. You have walked through transformation, fire, faith, and fulfillment, and you have not only survived, you have shifted. Heaven has upgraded your life, and now you carry a light that others desperately need to see. Your presence is no longer passive, it is prophetic. You are the living proof of what happens when surrender meets divine timing. If these words have stirred your soul, if they have met you in the silence, strengthened your faith, or awakened something holy within you, then don't let the flame stop here. Share this message so another soul wandering in darkness might find their way home. A simple share is not just an action, it's a ripple of light moving through the digital realm, carrying heaven's echo farther than you can imagine. Like this message, if it has touched your spirit, it's your way of saying, I receive what God is doing in me. Leave a comment below. Share even one line about what spoke to you most. Your words may become someone else's confirmation, someone else's lifeline. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and stay connected. This isn't just a page or a platform, it's a movement, a gathering of the chosen across nations. Hearts linked by faith and divine purpose. You are seen, you are loved, you are chosen. Now go live the upgrade heaven has declared over your life.